Spurs and Spurs fans, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're out of the Champions League. I know you know this, and I know that this is coming at you a little late. But James and I are here to talk about Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte's future, I guess his recent history and his present as well. Um, Two games against Milan, not a single goal scored, and losing on aggregate 1-0 over a two-legged affair is kind of a drab, disappointing, and ultimately, James, kind of boring affair. I think if you're looking at Champions League, trying to have greatness, trying to win a trophy for a team that's not won a trophy in however long it's been
15
now, right?
years. Jonathan Woodgate, 2008.
The culture of this club and the idea behind it is just strange to me. Um, I was one of the I'm one of the people, and I'm still one of the people who I think historically, in the recent history, thinks that Spurs have overachieved. I think if you look at the wage bill historically, especially from that, from that initial team with Mauricio Pochettino, I
Pochettino.
think you could be like, wow, this is great. This is so good. They're playing against teams that they should have no problem. Sorry, should be really struggling against, but they're doing it. They're doing it. Champions Leagues and all this kind of stuff. Great. It's all on the horizon. It's all there, and it's kind of faded away a little bit. And it still feels to me like they're hung with this relationship of overachieving. I think that's gone, and I think that's been gone for a couple of years now, James. And I think that nothing says that that's gone more than bringing in a manager like Antonio Conte, bringing in Richarlison, bringing in Yves Basuma, bringing in these like somebody like a Christian Romero, right? Bringing in a winner, like a proven winner like Ivan Perisic, who's worked under Conte before, and then somehow being worse. And again, I'm not the type of person I'd like to think to just make fun of people willy nilly. I know that Spurs get a lot of, what, for just being kind of the way they are and operating the way they are. And I'm well aware of the limitations that somebody like Tottenham have. But James, I'm kind of over it now from the club and the culture aspect. Surely culture needs to be put in place by a manager who's being paid loads of money, a manager who's been there and done it, a manager who has a reputation to uphold, and all this kind of stuff. And then after comments from the game, I have a contract with Tottenham. I respect the contract. At the end of the season, assessments will be made with the club in the most serene way. Let's see how the season ends. James, if you want to stay at a club, you don't say that. If you don't want to stay at a club, that's the kind of thing you say. And because we're dealing with the frugal, tight fisted club that is Tottenham Hotspur, they're not going to sack him now because they don't want to give him a payday. They're going to wait until the contract expiry and move on. And I think my issue is here, James, we're getting to a point where what are Spurs? What are Spurs? Are we just going to deal in this like mediocrity thing all the time? Or does something major have to change? And I know you've got a big smile on your face, top of the table, North London, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. But it's getting to a point now where I don't know whether to be angry at Conte. I don't know whether to be angry at everybody because of the perception of what Spurs are. But James, at the beginning of the season, I looked at the likes of a Kulusevski, Son, and Kane front three. The Suma being brought in, the defense looked pretty solid. Perisic has come in as well. Højbjerg's solid. Hugo Lloris, okay, is experienced, and Antonio Conte's your coach. That's got title push written all over it. What happened?
What happened to Spurs?
I,
That's
I
simply
hate
what
to say
happened.
it, but it feels like
But
that,
but,
doesn't it?
but Jack, the biggest thing for me is that Antonio Conte, since the day he walked into Tottenham, had an excuse, and that excuse was Tottenham. It was more of a thing that, guys, you better be happy that I'm here. I could be anywhere else, but I chose to be here with you. So you guys better come here on bended knees and thank me for being here because I am Antonio Conte and I'm bigger than you. And he's made this sort of perception of him being Tottenham manager since the day he walked in. This didn't happen to Chelsea. Yeah. When Chelsea seen the stuff that was going on, the shenanigans, everything like that, they got rid of him. And Tottenham, you're saying they're gonna get rid of him? Not really. Antonio Conte is gonna walk. That's ultimately like what he wants to do. He's gonna walk. And the fact of the matter is that the fact that Tottenham fans have let him get away with these snarl disgraceful comments about your team and your club. This is not like an opposition manager. This is
Yeah.
your manager saying this about you.
Right.
Think about it right now.
Mhm.
Imagine like somebody, your family member, going, "Man, he's dead. Man. He's not good at this. He's not good at that." And, I'm like, "Oh, it's all right. He's my family member. He can say nah." And
No.
he's going out to the public and saying it to your friends. He's saying it to that. That's what, like, think of. That's what it comes off like with Antonio Conte. And
Yeah.
it's been allowed to be said for so many months now. And now it's got to a point where Spurs fans have had enough, but not had enough to the point of view that they're chasing him out. Because if you're talking like that about my football team, I want you out of there. The next time you walk out, no.
But
But they're gonna let it ride because it's Antonio Conte. We're grateful to have him in. Daniel Levy hasn't backed him. I don't like that excuse because the fact of the matter is Tottenham has spent as much as any other team in the transfer window.
yeah, it's not true. And also, I mean, again, I might get some hate for this. I don't know, but you put that best 11 for Inter up against the best 11 that Spurs can put together. That's closer than you think, and
Hundred percent.
I'm not ruling out that I wouldn't take the Spurs starting 11 over what Conte had at Inter. I'm just putting that out there from the back going forward, right? I mean, we can even go through it now and pick our kind of like combined 11, but there are a number of Spurs names on that thing. So to see that he can't say that he can't have any success is disappointing. Um, he's gone down in my estimation, James. This used to be one of my favorite. I used to really regard this guy as a top three. I thought this guy was a killer going in anywhere, culture change, a proper dictator of a manager. My way or the highway. We're
Hundred
going to
percent. I was a
culture
big
change.
fan of
Da,
him.
da, da. I've brought in Perisic. He's going to tell you how it is and all this kind of stuff. And I just see a guy who just can't be asked anymore. Just can't be asked. He's looking at Max Allegri, licking his lips, thinking, "Oh, he'll be gone soon. I can get back in that Juventus thing. Maybe the start of next season with this great squad, and then maybe I can win Serie A again. I can go back to my home nation and and do all this kind of stuff." My big thing, though, as much as my opinion of Antonio Conte might change, and I might feel a little bit less about him than I do at the moment, I don't know where Spurs go from here. I don't, because James, you know what I think rehiring Mauricio Pochettino is? I think it's a step backwards.
100%. hundred percent.
It's because again, what's your top level of having him back? Do you make top four consistently again, and then get knocked out of a quarter or a semi final in cup competitions? Like, is Pochettino the guy to stop the rot and like really change the culture of a football team? He's a fantastic coach. He's well liked. It's been the best thing about Spurs in their recent history. Don't get any of that twisted. But if I'm a Spurs fan, I'm ready to win something. I'm ready to win an EFL Cup, an FA Cup. Man, maybe sneak a Champions League, probably not, but maybe sneak a Champions League. I'm ready to challenge for a Premier League title. I have Harry Kane as my number 9. I have a World Cup winning goalkeeper. I have a reasonable enough defensive line. I have a solid enough midfield. I have wing talent. I have all this stuff going for me. Who's the guy who they bring in that does the entire culture change? I'm not going to lie to you, James. I thought about this because he was in the running for the job. You know who would have been great at Spurs and would have brought in a culture change and changed the way things would have done? Eric Ten Hag would have been potentially a good fit for Spurs, another person they've missed out on. Now, I don't know where they go from here. And if I'm a Spurs fan, I'm worried because I'm looking at Kane, looking around at Bayern Munich, looking around at Manchester United, right? I'm looking at maybe some players that I'm going to miss out on because my team is not in a good position to succeed. Your
Ja-
thoughts on what Spurs
Jack,
should do?
my biggest thing for the Mauricio Pochettino thing is that he fits Tottenham perfect. A
Right.
manager who is going to give you some good moments, but ultimately he's not going to get you over the line. And all Tottenham just want is to be comfortable. They accept just finishing top 4. They accept getting a second place finish because they talk about that time
But
in a way it's like they were the most successful thing there. No, you want to take that next step. You
but
want to.
is that you perpetuating the kind of joke about Spurs never getting over the line? It's the it's the way of the Tottenham, blah blah. Is that you perpetuating that, or do you actually think that that's what Spurs fans
Jack,
like
I
subconsciously think?
Jack, I honestly do believe that
Right.
because they're happy with playing great football in finishing in a top four.
Third or fourth, right?
They don't have the mentality. Jack, Arsenal don't win everything. Not only are we a laughing stock, but you've seen the pressure going on Arsene Wenger. You've seen Liverpool when they weren't winning stuff. You've seen Chelsea what they're like when they're not winning stuff. You see Manchester United. All it's talk about trophy job, trophy job. Get rid of it. Spurs it's not like that. It's a comfort level. If they're just doing good enough, that's good for them. As you can see with Antonio Conte last season, they got top fours. Oh, Conte, greatest thing we've ever seen. Yada yada yada. That's the way the mentality of the football club is.
Right.
They don't demand more from players. They don't demand more from the manager. You know, ultimately, Jack, when Pochettino was getting to these points, they weren't looking at poaching the players there. They're like, Daniel Levy, Daniel Levy, Daniel Levy. I'm sorry, but as great as someone like Harry Kane is, Jack, if I was a fan of Tottenham, and I think he's great, I would say, as much as I think you're doing great, I would demand more from you. I would demand more. If you were that guy, you would get us over the line.
Yeah.
If you were, for instance, Antonio Conte, the way he's talking, no. Get us over the line, and then you can speak.
It's because I think a Spurs fan, if they were sat here with me or sat there with you, would say, we're sick of not winning trophies. We've had enough. We want to win a trophy. But I don't think they say it with their whole chest. They say it because they know it's the right thing to say, to come across as ambitious and wanting to win and taking the next step. But I think they also know the limitations of their club, and they're a little bit apprehensive of, we could be Everton, though. We could be Everton.
But Jack,
We're attached to these bigger teams, which is great, and we're part of this top six and stuff. But oh man, we're only a couple of like bad seasons away from, you know.
But Jack, my biggest thing with Spurs fans is that what lets me know that a lot of them will be satisfied by that is by bringing in a previous manager that they've already had.
Yeah.
You know, and I know, Jack, bringing in a manager back 9 times out of 10
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work out.
And
even Jack, even when that kind of did work out with Jose when he came back and won the league with Chelsea,
right.
you see how that ended up. You know,
and replicating the success that they had. Well, I mean, success. You know what I mean? Replicating where they were able to get to with Pochettino. That's gonna be different. Pochettino's a different guy now. You know, Pochettino's a bit more jaded, a bit more, you know, rough around the edges.
And Jack,
maybe.
we've seen what happened with the PSG thing. We've seen that. Jack, forget what people don't remember is that his first season he didn't win the league with PSG.
Yeah.
The second season, Jack, ask a load of PSG fans. That was one of their worst title wins ever. I think, Jack, I think that they failed to beat the top 12 away from home throughout the whole season. And like they only won it because Jack, they're freaking PSG.
They got Mbappe,
you know. You know, so listen, Pochettino was always destined to get that Manchester United job. You know how much that we've even been pushing for him to get it. Jack, there's a reason why he didn't get it. Because he went for that interview, and Eric Ten Hag got it ahead of him. There is a mentality. There's something there going on. Oh my days!
When we're seeing the proof of that now as well, aren't we? I guess with what he's doing at Manchester United as well. I don't know. I guess in terms of recommendations as well, we should maybe end on something like that. Some maybe quick bullet.
Do you know what it is? We're gonna have to get a Spurs fan in, a few Spurs fans in, and just have a deep discussion on them as a club overall, because they've went from Mourinho, Conte. Now they're gonna go back to Poch. Like they went for the jugular and it didn't work.
Because I'm not gonna lie to you, like I kind of feel some similarity, I guess, with Spurs fans as a Roma fan, because I feel like they're similar levels of club, in my opinion. I don't know if that's like maybe accurate enough.
I think you're a little bit more successful than Tottenham, but
you know, having Mourinho is great. You know, since the beginning of 2023, Roma haven't conceded a goal at home in the Europa League or Serie A, and it's March. Like, you know, Mourinho's doing some stuff, right? So it's nice and it's good and stuff. And obviously Roma, you know, need that's the Scudetto's the thing that they want. The Scudetto's the thing that they want. So I try and sympathize a little bit. But I think we're getting to a stage now where like something drastic has to happen. And drastic to me, James, looks like selling Harry Kane to Bayern or selling Harry Kane to wherever Harry Kane needs to go. maybe cashing in on somebody like Heung-min Son, who's looked relatively weak. Let the Richarlison era start. Just go for it. Just give the guy a shot. We know what Richarlison's capable of. We know what sort of mentality he has. We saw his interview after saying that the season has been, swear word, right? Dragging Conte through the mud. That's the kind of mentality and the kind of character that you need as part of your team. I think anybody related with that old culture needs to be moved out. Somebody needs to be brought in, and the whole idea and perception around the club, including the fan base, needs to change. Because we've
And
seen what Mikel Arteta has done in recent years, and now the fear of Arsenal Football Club is back, and this team looks like it's the one of the best things ever. It's
it's
come out
scary.
of nowhere. Perceptions around Manchester United are changing. All this kind of stuff is going on and happening. We know how quickly these perceptions can change. I just don't know if Spurs are capable of it, James. Because as much
And
as I
Jack,
think that's what they should do, James, they won't do it.
and Jack, to me, the biggest thing is you got to spend money. But you don't got to spend Chelsea sort of money to be
No,
competitive. You don't got to spend that sort of money to win a title. You know, you can do it. You just got to be able to do it right. And the question, and the thing about Tottenham before is that they got it to a certain point,
right.
but they just couldn't break that ceiling. And I'm not sure Poch is going to be that guy. He may get them there again, but will they ever break that ceiling? I don't think so.
And again,
With Poch.
subconsciously, I think Spurs fans are happy with that. I can
That's what
tell.
Jack. That's the biggest thing. That's
Subconsciously,
what they want.
yeah,
That's what they want,
subconsciously.
Jack.
And the reason why I keep repeating that is because I don't think any Spurs fan in their right mind would come on here, or if they were chatting with us and go, "Yeah, close is good enough." Like no one's going to say that, but it's the way you are and the way that you react and engage with your team. You know, any criticism of anything that Pochettino did when he was at Spurs would always be followed by, obviously, it's great that he's doing what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Jack. Let's finish off here. And this is my mentality. Arsenal will go on. Let's say Arsenal don't go on to win the league this year. I won't look back at this year and be like, "Oh, Jack, you remember how great it was?
2023. Yeah,
Second in the league, we challenged City." No, I'm gonna be devastated. I'm gonna want more and
right.
more because ultimately, Jack, second ain't good enough. Third ain't good enough. Fourth ain't good enough.
Arsenal won't have a DVD for that. Spurs might.
Exactly. They're gonna have to listen.
They
Get
did
the
though,
job
James.
done.
That's what I worked at the store. Like they had a DVD for not winning the Champions League. That's sad, man. Like that's sad. I don't know whose bright idea that was, and also I don't know which Spurs fans buying that thing.
Listen, we have killed Spurs fans right
No,
now,
but like,
guys. I'm done with this.
but I
But
don't
Jack,
think.
this is where I was. To me, it's this. It's that they praise Harry Kane and they love him, but they don't demand more from him. Antonio Conte to a certain point, they didn't demand more from him. Poch to a certain point when he was there, they didn't demand more from him. And the only reason why he went out because he had a bit of a disagreement with Levy here or there. Jack, they would have been happy just being there for a long period of time.
But the thing is, I don't even feel like we're roasting Spurs here. I feel like this is the facts of the matter, and this is the conversation that we're having. I'd love for somebody to come on and tell me different. I take
Please, we're
absolutely
gonna have
no
to do
ple-
that.
I take absolutely no pleasure dragging any club through the mud. I
I do.
really don't. I really
Yeah,
don't.
I do.
This is to me, this is to me just kind of facts of the matter that we're kind of talking about here. And again, would love to hear everybody's thoughts in the comments section, especially Spurs fans. If you can give us some considered comments, some longer comments that we can actually consider and react to, I'd really appreciate it too. Drop a like on the video if you like what you've seen. I'm sure you might be thinking, I don't really like this video. I'm sorry, but James and I are just trying to have this open and honest dialogue as well. Hit subscribe as well if you do like what you've seen, but more importantly, comment section. Like we're really trying to hash this out here and figure something out. And Spurs fans, we need you to help us do that. James, anything else from you, mate?
Guys, my whole thing has gone blurry. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.